Hey, this is Ted.
And I'm Lindsay.
And we want to talk to you about how we do our flips and renovations on our project homes. So stay tuned.
We're going to answer a few questions, like how in the world do you not kill each other while you're working together? What are some things you like and dislike? We addressed a few of those things. And I think it would be a good idea, if you want to, send us some messages about other questions that you have, and we'd be happy to address them in a future video. But here's a few we have for right now.
Got some questions we're going to work through. People ask us how we do our flips, so she's got all these questions she wants to ask.
Well, here's the thing. So when we go different places or talk to different people about what we do, we get a lot of questions. So like when we go to the bank to do transactions, there's one gal we've talked to a lot, and she said, I don't know how you guys do it, because we were working on a floor or something this weekend and we were just at each other. We were frustrated, and so the biggest question, that would be one of the biggest questions we get, is how do you deal with working with each other? Because obviously we're at home together, and then we're at work together. It's a lot of time together.
Well, we give each other time off. We try to do things in the evening that, when there's not a COVID going on. Lindsay likes to do like hula hooping, dance. I like to do wood carving in the evening, so we take time, do things that we like to do. I also like to hunt in the fall. I normally take a week or two off and hunt, even if there's a big project going.
Which is a good point. We give each other breaks. Like if one of us is super frustrated or didn't sleep well the night before, super tired, doing something super physical that day, we never have to feel like we have to give each other excuses. It's just like, hey, I'm going home for lunch and I think I'm done for the day. Hey, I've only been here 20 minutes and I kind of don't feel like this today, so I'm going home. And that's one of the biggest things about working for yourself. It's just the opportunity to have a choice whether you stay or don't stay. One of the other things that we do is, if things are getting frustrating about a project that we're working on, allowing ourselves to walk away from it and go work in different rooms for a little bit.
Yeah, this project was so big that we could go to a multitude of different projects. So if things weren't working quite right, you could just say, we'll figure that out later and go on to another project. So
just set it down and don't worry about it. I think that when there's differences of opinion about how we want to see something done, a lot of times I'll have an idea about something, and either I'm not explaining myself well, or we're just not jiving on it, or what I'm asking him to help me accomplish isn't possible because of structures behind the walls, or you name it. And so sometimes in those cases, we will literally just walk away. We'll make a drawing for each other. We'll do whatever to try and communicate what we need done.
Sometimes that works.
Sometimes that works.
Other issue is that Lindsay does have pretty much a full-time job that she works, and trying to communicate things over text or calls while she's at work is sometimes not the best way. But we still have to do that to see exactly what she's telling me from this crazy drawing she created.
Yes, true story. And a lot of times I just say, you know what? If you want to scrap the whole thing, scrap the whole thing. And I feel like I'm able to say that because it's not our own house. I think we still do that on our own house quite a bit, but.
Yeah, we did. We always try to make drawings and things and try to work through what's the best plan of action.
Mm-hmm. So one of the next questions we get a lot is financing. A lot of people see so many shows out there about flipping houses and think, how do you do that? The numbers, every time I see the numbers at the end where they say they bought it for such and such amount, they sold it for such and such amount, they put so much into it, I'm always like, yeah, but does that include your labor? Does that include your insurance? Does that include a million other fees and extras? So if you're ever really want to know the numbers, I'm not going to put all of it out there because it's just a lot. feel free to PM me on Facebook or contact Ted, and he can give you my contact information. As far as like unexpected fees, if you're looking to flip a house, like things that you wouldn't normally think of when you walk in. We got started on this, what did we say, about 5 years ago. Our very first opportunity to do this came when we sold our first house, like our first, just married. We got married in 2005.
We bought a giant house that was way too much house. We should have bought a much smaller house and worked our way into a bigger 2,500 square foot house.
True story.
Which was absolutely crazy. But, so anybody that's looking for a house that's just married, just buy something small and fix it up and then move up in houses.
Yes, true story.
Because trying to make that payment was too much stress.
Yeah.
And we did that for about 10 years. And I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden we were like, you know what? Let's sell this. It was clean, or I don't know, boys were gone or something.
And we wanted more acreage.
Yeah, we wanted to try to get out of town really, but
we already lived on a dead end street.
We had a couple acres, but we wanted to have.
We like quiet.
We wanted. I don't know what we were doing. I don't know. The house we bought on Conrad, Lindsay said no way she was buying it. Well, after a couple of months, we ended up buying it, and they took like 5 dumpsters of trash off of it.
Yeah.
And then we took another 5. So that place took like 10 dumpsters of trash off. So those are the kind of places you're looking to buy. Mm-hmm. They're junk.
Yes. They're like caution when you're entering, those kind of things. You
make your money. You make your money on the buy. That's the real deal.
Yeah. So we sold our first house. We had a fair amount of equity left over. We had no place to go because our house sold overnight, and that was back when this was still a rare occurrence. Right now, it's totally normal for your house to sell in about an hour. So we had equity left over. We had funds to be able to shop around. We couldn't find anything we wanted at that time. So we ended up, last minute, hour 9, finding a small place that we were able to fix up. It was so scary that Clay would not walk inside. Mm-hmm. He stayed in the yard and Ted was at work. So I went and looked at it, and I was like, listen, I think we should offer on this place. It's small. It'll give us the time and space to do what we need to do.
Yeah, it was like 800 square feet compared to our 2,500 square foot with like another 1,000 square foot basement.
Yeah.
So it was tiny, and we had a giant Labrador that lived with us in a 3-bedroom, 1-bath slab on a 1/4 acre in town. That was quite a change.
Yeah.
And we lived there for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were working at Conrad while we were living there. So
we stayed there basically until, So back up a second, we bought that tiny house to stay in, basically just some place to stay. And then as soon as we were done, Ted says to me, that was kind of fun fixing this house up. And it's small, but
that was like a 3-week job, though. That was pretty easy.
Because we
had to be in there, and we worked day and night on that for 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So he said, that's kind of fun. And I said, well, let's look and see if we can find another one. We still have some equity to go. Let's go. So we found another house, and we thought, let's fix it up a bit. We're not going to do like primo. This one we're going to rent. So we're going to put sturdy things in there. No carpet in that house at Broadway.
No, there was carpet that was existing we saved in the living room.
Yep.
We scrubbed it with a rental, one of those scrubber, whatever they are, you can rent, and it still was bad, but it was good enough.
It was perfect for the renters.
Yeah. She loved it. She was there for like 4 years or something.
Mm-hmm. She just moved out this last year. But anyway, so when we started renting, one of our main goals was to charge affordable rent. We don't want people so strapped they can't afford their rent. So many of the people who come look at the houses are like, this is all the rent is? Yes, it's fair. It's not dirt cheap because you're still living in a nice house, but it's something that people can afford. We don't want people strapped. And I don't lock people into leases. That's just another thing. We'll talk about that when we talk about renting properties, but I don't lock people in. So if you can't afford it, you're not tied into something, you're not getting sued for the next 6 months worth of rent. And
then you don't have to try to evict people when they don't pay their rent.
Yes, and you treat them like people, which in our case, we're small. We can talk to people, and we haven't really had any issues. So then we were just finishing up that one, and I found this one. Ted was in the middle of working one day at the house while I was at my job. And I said, you know, I cannot believe the price of this house. You need to go check it out. So he drops everything he's doing, goes over there and checks it out. And so we bought that house. And that one was like dirt cheap.
Yeah.
And didn't need a lot of work. So we fixed that one up.
It ended up needing mechanicals.
Yeah.
Was the main thing.
Furnace, AC, hot water
yeah.
heater. Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff was all bad. I mean, we did a lot of wood, like floorings. It had wood floors in it, which was under carpet, so that was pretty good. We just tore the carpet out, threw it out. Then we have a guy in town that does wood floor work, so he came and sanded and then finished all the floors there at, that's 8th and, it was 8th Street.
Yep. So here we are, we bought Earl that we moved into, then we bought Broadway that we fixed up and rented, then we bought 8th Street that we fixed up and rented. Still don't have a place that's like our
No, we bought,
home.
it was Floral we moved into.
Oh, Floral, what did I say?
Floral, you said Earl. I mean, we're at about 10, 12 houses here,
So we can do
that
some-
kind of runs together.
Yes, so we moved into Floral, then we bought Broadway, then we bought 8th.
8th Street.
And then Ted found Conrad, like he talked about. And I was very hesitant. There were some foundation issues that I was super nervous about. You know, when your basement is falling in, that seems like a big problem to me, and an expensive problem. But it's out on a dirt road, super quiet, 4 acres, wooded. You know, the setting was great. The house just wasn't great. There were no keys to get into it. The realtor told us, go ahead and just break in.
We went through the window.
So we sent Keaton through the window.
Yep, and he opened the door. That property had 3 porches. The roof line was terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, we basically left the floor and 1 wall standing. That was it. So if you want to see those photos, I don't think there's any video.
No.
Very
But we do
little.
have tiny little videos of the kids there.
You can go back and probably find those photos.
Yeah.
So we did Conrad. That took a year
Yeah.
because we had to lift all tear all that basement up and lift it, and then we had to put a whole new roof on. It was big. We built a house, basically.
Rebuilt the house.
Um,
right where it stood. We lifted the rafters off.
So that took a year. So that takes us to 2018,
Mm-hmm.
2019.
And that's about where we started running out of our equity that we had gotten from our first house. So we were able to finance for a short period to be able to finish that house and sell Floral, the house we were living in. And then we're back, we're back and ready to start our next project. So after that, what did we buy next?
Earl. We didn't buy Earl till in the summer, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Of 2018, I think is what it was.
And so many of these houses, like we would offer, like, and just have to walk away. Like they were like, no, we're not going to take that, or they'll counter offer, and we're like, they're clearly not going to budge. We walk away. Many times we get a phone call back. That might not happen in today's market, but at the time, a couple of years ago, totally normal.
So we fixed up Earl, and then then we did Howard the following year.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I mean, both those two needed roofs. That's what takes long. Howard, then we bought this place in February of 2020. And now here we are. It's taken a year. This was a big project too.
This is a big project. And this was another one that we offered. I think they wanted 40. We offered 30. He said, no way. We waited 2 weeks. He's like, hey, is that 30 still on the table? And
it was.
It kind of was, because we'd already started on another project, but that's something else. Watch the farm videos to see about that project. So that's how we finance so far. Lindsay's opinion, my opinion, don't finance your home. Don't pull out of your 401k. If you want to start doing something like this, my opinion,
Cash.
safest way to do it is to see what equity you already have. It's not going to hurt your family to downsize to a smaller place for a short period, and you can get a tremendous amount of equity out of your own home, and then get started. And then you can work on the first house as your own. So we probably weren't 100% done with Floral when we moved in, but it was our own house, so we could move right in, continue working on it. So one of the other questions we get all the time is we're talking about, oh, we're just, doing a bathroom today, or we're doing roofing, we're doing windows. is, who does your work? Who do you hire? Who helps you out with stuff? We do have some trusted guys that we go to, licensed guys in their area that will come in and help us in a pinch. Ted honestly does a lot of the work, and there's times where I'm like, let's just hire that out. It's going to be so much easier.
Plumbing, we like to hire out. Everything leaks.
Plumbing, hire.
I'll run all like the water lines, but then stuff just needs to get done. He comes in and finishes stuff up. So
Inspects everything, make sure everything's okay. But there's so many times we'll get a couple of quotes on something and it's so outrageously expensive, and then Ted says, I could probably do that for like a third of the price, right?
Basically, like roofs. We've gone to doing steel roofs because the price is only about 20% more for materials, but we have to do the labor. So you're paying for labor. That's what you pay for on these things.
And how do you feel about the labor?
Normally the
shingles
labor
versus steel.
I'd rather do steel. I don't know. But you got to know what you're doing. You got to be able to cut steel. You got to have tools to cut it and bend it and all that. And we like to do hidden fastener steel because it looks clean. And we probably don't do it exactly like everyone does, but everybody does stuff different. So we do it our way, and it seems to hold up. So
for siding for this house, I said
you didn't want to do the siding on this house, but man, it looks a lot better now.
It looks a lot better. I'm glad we did. But the peaks of this bi-level, and again, you'll see pictures of this house, the peaks of them are so high up, and typically it's Ted working. I'm sometimes there helping, but I prefer to be on flat level ground. I say not because I don't like heights, but I am afraid of falling because I have to use my legs to work. But it's also usually our two dads who are both in their 60s.
My dad's in his 70s.
Is he hit 70 already?
Yeah. So yeah, we got a couple, retired guys that are working with us.
I try and limit them to 1 or 2 steps up the ladder, and they think I'm ridiculous. I understand that it's frustrating, but I've seen your dad fall off a ladder.
Yeah, he was only at 1 step though.
And I've seen my dad fall a few times, once into a dumpster actually.
Yes, that was interesting and funny.
And I would much rather pay an
At least there was a cushion or chair there.
There was a chair there. I'd rather pay a really, really high amount to rent a piece of equipment and know that they're safe. And it does go a little faster when you're not constantly up and down a ladder.
Yeah, that last thing was pretty cool.
It was that jig lift. I think we have a video of that.
I don't know what it's called, but
yeah,
it has like wheels and you can move it around and you're on a boom lift. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
So we only had it for a day, used it for those ends. So if it's
$500,
something,
whatever.
Yeah. So if it's something that's too dangerous for us to do, every time, hands down, I'm going to pay for some equipment because...
There's some stuff we're never going to do. We're not going to put wells or septics in. I'm not doing that.
Nope.
Some grading we do, some driveway grading and move gravel and concrete. We do some concrete work.
But
little
a huge...
stuff. Big job, no.
Huge credit, huge thank you. You see the 2 of us here talking, but there's 2 more people that are usually here. Sometimes another 5 that are family members. So both of our dads help out a tremendous amount. Ted's dad is a contractor, a licensed contractor, and so he's constantly giving Ted advice.
Yep, he's here all the time.
Yeah.
Doing stuff that we don't want to do. No.
Basically, telling us, hey, this is what you should do next. This is what you
we
need
ask
to
him
make
all
sure
kinds
it's
of
done.
questions, and sometimes he doesn't know either. So that's how it is.
But he knows somebody he can call.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
And my dad's the guy who can come in and make anything that's ancient work, and he has all kinds of tools, and he will show up with the craziest stuff, and we're like, what in the world is this? And then he shows us how it works and saves us a bunch of time. So between the 2 of them, we get a tremendous amount of help. We hire nieces, nephews, never any pressure. I just say, hey, listen, guys, if you need some work and you want to get paid, hey, we've got some work for you.
Normally nothing very difficult, really.
No. Mm-mm. And I don't think we're at a point yet to feel like we need to hire anyone, and we don't really have the resources to hire someone full-time to do this with us. But that's, I think, because you and I like a lot of the control over how it's done.
Yeah.
I mean, fair enough.
I don't really like doing other jobs for other people either. I don't know why. There's too much pressure. I'd rather have enough pressure on doing a job where I could just say, yep, I'm not doing that today, and just walk away. Whereas if I'm at someone else's house doing jobs, I can't really do that, you know, just walk away from whatever. So
Mm-hmm.
we may pick up some jobs depending on how things go with the market, though.
Yeah.
You know, if we can find another project. So I don't know how it's going to go in 2021.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. So 2 more questions. They may be fast, they may not be quick. Next question. What is your most favorite job to do when we're rehabbing a house and your least favorite?
My least favorite, that's easy, drywall.
Drywall.
I hate it. My most favorite, I like electrical stuff. I like doing all that. I like running wires and stuff. I probably should have been like an electrician, but.
Remember when you were doing Conrad and you had the cat that followed you around?
Oh,
You
yeah.
had like a bucket with all his supplies in it, and the cat would jump in the bucket and then like.
Putting plugs in or something. Wasn't the cat following me everywhere?
Yeah. And then it would run through ductwork and pop out at another duct. And
What's yours?
my favorite, and this kind of encompasses a couple of other things. Well, is like painting.
Oh, yeah.
And caulking.
She does all the painting.
Anything where I can get, this sounds silly, but Ted and I both, we talked about our hobbies. Ted's is carving and doing things like that. Mine's hula hooping. We joke around a lot about the flow state. Maybe you know what the flow state is, maybe you don't. But I'm sure you've experienced the flow state. If you basically it's one of those activities that you do that you lose track of time. You're not unhappy doing it. Your imagination can kind of do its own thing. You're being creative. You're using skills that you might not use on a 9-to-5 job. So those are my favorite kind of things. I mean, I could stay here till 8 o'clock at night sometimes just painting, and I forget to eat meals and things sometimes because I'm just so into it, and it doesn't feel like work to me. So I like those kind of jobs. And let's face it, when you paint something, it looks incredible. So it's really, really satisfying when it's done too. So that would be my most favorite. Least favorite.
Probably laying flooring when it doesn't.
I like demo.
Oh.
Demo's a lot of fun too. I would have to say, I already kind of alluded to this, anything where I have to be up on a ladder for long periods, or it feels somehow risky or dangerous what we're doing. I get anxious.
It's risky.
It's risky. I don't like Ted up on high ladders because then
she yelled at me the whole time we were trying to do this hallway.
Because I was anxious. And one time we were doing Conrad, and it's a walkout basement, and he was at the corner, so he was 2 stories up. And I kid you not, I kept throwing tarps on the ground and trying to figure out if he fell, where he would go. And I'm he had a coat. I'm gonna throw the coat there.
Instead of letting me get stuff done.
Yes, I do not want him to fall. Because let's be honest, construction workers, people who do these type of physical jobs, that's the number one thing that's going to get you is you're going to throw out your back, you're going to get hurt, and
yeah, we do have some downtime from back throwing out.
If you throw out your back, you get as many days off as you need.
About 3 or 4 times a year, I throw my back out.
Mm-hmm. Yep. This is a similar type of question, but what is your most favorite tool that you like to use? We're not going to go least favorite because if it's helpful, then if it's a crappy tool, you're not going to use it. Sorry for my language. If it's a junky tool, you're not going to use it.
No, I got a lot of tools.
What's your
I do like that little
tool?
pouch thing I got.
Okay.
It's I don't know what it's called. It has a belt clip. It will clip, and then you can put different things on it. I don't know what it's called. I'll take a picture and I'll put it in the corner somewhere over here. I don't know where. I'll take a picture of it and I'll show you what it is, or I'll put a link to it. But it's pretty cool. It's got different attachments, but you can just push a button and change your tool pouch right from your belt.
Because you don't like to wear a tool belt normally.
No, I don't really. It's too I don't know. I think it pulls my back out too.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of, you're leaning like that. I do wear really small tool belts. You gotta have a good impact. I really like the really big batteries.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
Electric saw. That's.
Oh yeah. The electric
battery
powered DeWalt is with a big battery. I like that. It's not my favorite tool, but it gets the job done.
It's nice and portable.
Yeah.
So you can take it anywhere with you, and my favorite would definitely have to be my rolling scaffolding.
Oh jeez.
I love it because I can hold on to it. I can climb up couple steps. It gets me on an standard 8-foot room. I can easily get up there. I can do everything I need to do from it. It has platforms so I can set all my stuff on it. I'm sure we'll find one in the work scaffolding in a picture. But
Yeah, I'll put the link to in the description for the work scaffold too.
But you can grab onto something as you're stepping up. It's
got
covered in drywall.
It's got like 2 steps, and I don't know. It gets you up probably 4 feet.
Yeah.
You got to the top. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And you can move them.
We were on it and did all the ceiling from it. Between that, and we really needed a second one. But
well, and there's times I'll be painting along, and because there's wheels on it, I just kind of like zoom and
pull yourself along. Yeah.
Pull yourself along. Sometimes you'll grab hold of the ceiling, and you can just kind of walk yourself down the room. My ultimate favorite tool, though, it's not really a tool, but it's a thing, is a dumpster.
Oh yeah.
I love a big dumpster.
Yeah.
There's nothing so satisfying as just getting all of it out here, out of, all the junk out, because then you can see your space, you can figure out what you need, you can really just start at empty canvas and then work up from there.
We put a lot of buildings inside of dumpsters too. We put this garage, or whatever this was, it was on the side over here. They got crushed up and got put in a dumpster.
We salvaged a fair amount of the barn wood and like things like this whitewashed bar, and you'll see a couple of other things if you look at the pictures in this house.
Yeah, there's a barn doors,
2 of them.
And what'd you do? Vanity dumpsters, yeah.
Made some signs, some cool stuff with it, but the majority of it was unsavable. You know what I mean? There's times you can salvage old wood and do some really cool things with it. But if it wasn't built well, I'm not talking about this property because I know some folks lived in that one, but if it wasn't built well and it's just a old shed, or, in the case of Conrad, you couldn't really save the rafters, the pitch wasn't right. I mean,
yeah, I don't know what they were thinking.
Goodbye, let's start over. We'll save stuff when we can, but not very often.
I do like a good bobcat.
Yeah.
Or whatever you would tracked one. Yeah, I like that.
Skid steer? Is that what you call it?
I don't know what it is. I call everything is called a bobcat. It's like got a bucket on it and move stuff, but it's not. I think we got it from, I don't know. It was from the rental place with some weird Chinese name.
Yeah. Tamagotchi or something.
Yeah.
But I think, yes, I am always delighted when there's a tool here because no one's throwing their back out, ideally. We've had to move concrete chunks.
We moved we moved a giant sandstone slab that we found. We found all kinds of stuff on this property because the guy that used to live here was, I guess he had a junk run or something, like a trash truck or something. So there was plenty of things here.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I knew that the son worked on cars and still does, and he just lives right around the corner. He gave us some good information about the house and was very kind. So we appreciate him. So that's some of our favorite tools. I like. Also, there's a squeegee if you do have to do drywall, which Ted hates. There's a real nice.
There is a video of me.
Skims
there's a DIY skim coat video, and I'll put a link to that up here for you to check out if you ever want to do drywall skim coat. I did one last fall, and it's on YouTube, and we did this whole house that way.
Yeah.
Still not 100% perfect, but it is much better than it was.
I always, whenever he
much better.
Ted is a perfectionist, which is why he struggles so much with drywall, because he wants it to be just right, which is a good thing.
I don't do it all the time.
Which is a good thing. It's a good thing. But it's also, we all have that point where you just need to, you've done it, you've done a great job, walk away.
I think most of these walls had 3 or 4 coats, and I'm looking over here behind the camera, and I'm seeing waves in it.
Don't look. It's fine. It's fabulous. It's fabulous. It's not a brand new house. None of them that we buy are new houses.
No.
So otherwise we wouldn't buy them.
Semi-used.
Gently.
Yes. It definitely was loved.
Yes. We're trying to make it feel like a real house in here. Ted just said off camera, it feels cold in here.
It's like freezing cold in here.
Because we're working all the time in these houses, so we keep them at 50 or 60. So we're never sitting and chatting. This is fun.
It's freezing in here.
So yeah, this house took us about a year. It's definitely our longest one. Ted said, hey, I really, really want to do a flip. I want to do like the whole thing, not just we're fixing it up for renters. We're kind of patching ceiling, doing little Band-Aids.
We normally don't like to buy two level houses either. That's one of our rules. And this, I would say, classified as 2 levels.
Yes.
Number one, it's hard to work on that second story. You need ladders or scaffold or that boom thing we were talking about. And man, when we did the trim, we came up and down these stairs millions of times. I don't even know. I don't even want to know how many times I've climbed this stairwell.
His dad's poor knees. And we just got the railing in, so every single day he would say, hey, Ted, where's that railing? But we were moving stuff up and down, so it just didn't work out. So we're ready for our next project. So definitely keep tuned, because we could be up to some hijinks for the next project. We definitely have our feelers out there. We're trying to find our next project. We don't yet know if it's going to be a flip or if it's going to be a rental. Some of it depends on the market.
We're even thinking about possibly an Airbnb up north somewhere. We're even going that far out, as far as like 3 hours, maybe 4 hours north in Upper Michigan. So there could be some videos from that.
Yeah.
We're going to try to make more videos on the next project. Maybe
Stay tuned, because we don't even know what's going to happen next.
Yeah. Do we ever? No.
No.